When I was growing up, my mom would always make promises she wouldn't keep. And then she would say, only God doesn't change his mind. Humans can change their minds. She got us every time. We never had to come back for that. The truth is, God can do whatever he wants to do. He can decide to change his mind, and he handed that same power to you. You have the power to make your own choices. You have the power over your mind. And some of you have made terrible decisions. You've gone on a course that has only brought you shame and embarrassment. And the problem is you don't know how to turn back. The devil is holding you captive using fear and guilt. The devil is telling you that you've gone too far to come back, and no one would accept you now. The devil is telling you that if you turn back, you'd only meet shame and condemnation. Maybe he's right, because human beings are not God. Human beings condemn each other. We gossip, we envy, we judge others, we pick out specks from the eyes of others while forgetting the logs in our own eyes. We do all manner of things. Thankfully, we are in God. God is the only one that would never get tired of you. He's never going to get tired of welcoming you back home. His love doesn't have a limit. It's an inexhaustible well. His love doesn't have an expiry date. So don't be afraid to change course. Don't be afraid to tell the devil that you've changed your mind. Come on, say it. Devil, I changed my mind. Say to him, I'm not going on this journey with you any longer. For so long I fell for your trap. I allowed you to tell me that what you had for me was better. I allowed you to destroy my relationships. I allowed you to ruin everything I took time to build. I allowed you to tell me that I was too bad for God's kingdom. I allowed you to tell me that I didn't belong to God. But no more. I take full responsibilities for my actions. I accept that I was wrong. I chose to follow you. I chose to take the broad path. But now, I've changed my mind. Devil, I've changed my mind. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm going back to where I'm sure I will be accepted. I'm going back to God. He's the only one that can fix me. He's the only one that can heal me. He's the only one that can restore my past and redeem what's left of my future. Devil, I changed my mind. Get your hands off me. Get your hands off my mind. Get them off. I changed my mind. I'm not going back with you. I'm going back to my Father. It doesn't matter what I face when I am with him. At least I know that he would never leave me nor forsake me. You never really had a future to offer me. You told me you did, but you're a liar. All you do is lie. You steal, you kill, and you destroy. You isolated me from the ones who love me. You isolated me from the ones who tried to set me on the right path. You told me they were my enemies. You even told me that they were jealous of my freedom. You brought new people into my life. I didn't know that they were devourers. They came in looking like friends. They came in disguised as lovers, but they wanted to ruin me. They wanted to ruin me the way you ruined them. They helped me to tear everything I had built apart. Devil, I know that I've gone far with you, but it's not too late for me. I refuse to believe that it's too late. I'm not coming on this journey with you anymore. I've changed my mind. I have changed my mind. You promised me wealth, but what you didn't tell me was that I would have to sell my soul. You told me that with God, I had no real inheritance. You said I'll die poor. But what you didn't say was that in your kingdom, you'll strip me of everything good and pure. You didn't say that you would turn me into a monster. You kept me in your shackles for far too long. You told me that I had lost time. You even suggested that I just ended my life because I was no longer useful to anyone. Well, listen to me, devil. Enough is enough. I'd rather be poor in the Lord's side than sell my soul to gain your wealth. I've changed my mind. I'm not going with you anymore. Devil, I have changed my mind. You need to understand that the devil is cunning. He's a master at deception. What he does is to make you reject your identity. He's going to offer you wealth. He's going to offer you fun. He's going to offer you freedom, but not without telling you that God would never give you any of those things. He'll make you believe that God requires too much from you. What he won't tell you is that his own burden will break you. What he won't tell you is that you would have to crush your soul to accept his wealth. He'll make you forget that you're a child of God. You're a child of God who literally owns everything in the world. You're a child of God who called an ordinary man named Abraham and gave him the nations of the world. Why would you ever think that anything you need cannot be found in God? Why would you think that God is against your happiness and prosperity? The devil is too good at these games. He did it to the prodigal son. He made him believe that his father's house was a cage. He made him believe that his father was against his prosperity. That's the story with some of you. The devil has made you believe that you can never have a satisfying life with God. He has made you believe that what is on the other side is far more alluring than staying with God. And he tells you that there's freedom in your disobedience. And so some of you decided to listen. You left the place where God had asked you to stay. You left home. You left that church. You stopped praying to God. You truly believed that there was a whole life ahead of you without God. He made the prodigal son do that too. Finally, the guy thought he was free. He had all the money in the world. He could do anything with it. So he did. He squandered it. He lived recklessly. His freedom became a snare, and it was all because he wasn't prepared for what he asked for. What we sometimes forget is that God is the perfect model of a father. No father releases his child into the world without adequately equipping him. No father releases a child who is just learning how to walk to cross a major road. Many times God is protecting us. Many times what we call our wilderness seasons are our equipping seasons. Many times we aren't ready for the things we're asking for. In those moments, we should be expanding our capacity, preparing for more. But instead, the devil makes us think that God is a wicked father who is withholding things from us. That's not true. The prodigal son finally had his freedom, but he didn't know what to do with it. He never learned how to deal with freedom. He had so much money, but no financial wisdom. He should have been training in his father's house. He would have learned. One day, he would have gotten his inheritance, and then he wouldn't squander it because he would have been prepared. Many of us are allowing the devil to take us on a journey that God has withheld for us in his wisdom. With the devil, there are no boundaries. There are no rules, just a promise of freedom without guidance. God has never kept anyone in bondage. He gave us free will. We have freedom in God, but the devil masters freedom to look like bondage. It looks like it's not fun on God's side. It looks like it's too much trouble to stay with God. But stay, because all the devil has for you is regret. One day, the prodigal son realized that he has been deceived. The freedom he sought so desperately was slavery in disguise. It was slavery to the things of the world. One day he realized that he would rather be a servant in his father's house than a beggar at the devil's side. One day he told the enemy, "Devil, I changed my mind." Some of you need to say, some of you need to reconcile with your loved ones. Go back home. Go back to that church. Go back to your spouse. The freedom the enemy has promised you isn't what it appears to be. There's sorrow at the other end. There's regret, shame, and condemnation. I don't know how far you've gone, but listen to me. It's not too late to say, devil, I changed my mind.